Yeah, so that's how I spent most of the time before I start any of these videos. Yeah, I'm just practicing to let all of that discomfort in. Uh, yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't wanna fight it or flee from it. So I just wanna like, I'm just surrendering to this discomfort because it's still there. It's still a big thing. And yeah, I mean this video really I just want to continue to share about this process of being getting more comfortable on camera. And yeah, I want to basically share with you why I think this is such a it's still such a big deal for me to be on camera. But then the second thing is that I would really want to find out if you have any experience with being on camera and you've like basically gotten to the point where I'm still at, where it's just really uncomfortable and it doesn't really leave a lot of room for creativity and yeah, basically getting more creative with this kind of format. And you've got to a place where it's just much more fun, it's enjoyable, and you don't even see why setting up your camera and talk to a camera is a big deal at all. How did you navigate that? How did you get from that point A to point B? Be really curious to hear about that. And also, if you're in a similar spot, if you feel like you're also, if you're still with me, like you're still in that point A where it's really uncomfortable, what's preventing you from getting started, if it prevents you from getting started, and if you manage to get started, how are you dealing with that? What's your plan forward? How do you approach these kinds of situations? Yeah, because as much as I want to share the things I've learned and what I'm going through with you, I'm really, like I said last week, it's I'm really trying to get some interaction going. I'm really I'm just putting myself out there to really learn from you guys as well. So then let's just jump straight into why I think it's still such a big deal to for at least for me to talk on camera. And I mean, there's a couple components, and the I think the real obvious thing is that yeah, I just feel really vulnerable in the sense that I'm just sharing a lot of things that I would at least consider really personal in the past on camera. And although not a lot of people may see this at this point, it's just the idea that like the entire world potentially could see it if they'd want to. That makes it really scary because there's there's the specific things I'm insecure about are just real. I mean, they're easy to hide if you don't go on camera, but as soon as you go on camera, I'm like, oh my god. Even if I try to make it seem perfect, which is something that I'm really trying to let go of because it ruins a lot of the fun if I've as I've elaborated on in previous videos. Um, it's just that something that in my mind inevitably comes with exposing flaws and the things, yeah, my imperfections, and something I'm really uncomfortable with. It's an identity that I've tried to keep up for as long as I could before it really got me into trouble. And I'm talking about like pretending as though everything is going perfect, and that I've got it all figured out, and that yeah, there's just yeah, just bear with me. I know what I'm doing, and I'm just yeah, I know what I'm doing basically. Um, but yeah, like I said, it got me into enough trouble that I just yeah, I no longer believe in it, and there's just very little fun in pretending that everything's just perfect. So although yeah, perfection might have been like or yeah, the perfectionist tendency might have been a big thing for me. It might not necessarily have been for you, but it doesn't mean that there's not some kind of like some kind of how should I put it, like some kind of flavor or some kind of uh, yeah, some kind of you're not struggling with this in a different degree is what I'm trying to get at. So um, to me, how those insecurities expose themselves is honestly it's a really funny process. It's like when I get to sit or when I go and sit in front of the camera, what happens is that I basically hear people talking. Like there are some specific people, and I think the reason I hear them talking is because I those are people that for some reason or another I want to get confirmation from, and so when I hear them talking, they come up with all these reasons that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now, and so they basically try to get me. They want to talk me out of what I'm doing, and so it's really funny because through and it's something that I've learned from I mean it's a saying that I've gotten from the minimalists, and through experience I've gotten to a deeper understanding of what it actually how profound it really is. And they say criticism is nothing but a mirror that reflects the insecurities of the one doing the judging. And so it's it goes both ways. It's when people judge me or they would judge you, and it really doesn't say a whole lot about you. It says like 90% of what it, well, if not 100% of that judging really and reveals a lot of what they're going through and the things they struggle with. But also it's also it works in the opposite direction as well, and it's something you can use to uncover insecurities about yourself, because the people that I hear talking and I have no way of knowing that that's what they actually would say when they see this and see what I'm doing, if they even care at all. So it's it's by hearing these voices and just like hearing them talk. And to me, it's, for example, hey Kobe, how do you know for sure what you're talking about? How do you know that what you're sharing with these people is like the 100% for sure best advice you can give them? It's like how do you know that what you're seeing now is going to stand the test of time? How do you know that what you do now is still going to make sense in 5, 10, or even 100 years from now? It's like these are the things that they appear to be saying to me, but honestly, if just going through that saying of that mirror, it's yeah, it's just what I'm talking. It's just what I'm saying about myself. Really, it just exposes the things I'm insecure about, and so then there's basically a couple of options, and it's something that I've learned from going through anxiety, is that I can either fight it or flight it, is what I would believe in the past. And so basically in terms of anxiety, that would mean, for example, I'm in a huge meeting with like 20 other people and I have to present something. And I would just start like having this very, very, very panicky feeling and just like at the verge of having another panic attack. And that would be like, I either fight it, and fight it would basically mean I'm just putting it all down, just putting a lot of like really push it down, or flight from it, flee from it. Is it so that would basically mean coming up with some kind of excuse why I have to leave the room and I have to go somewhere else, and just make pretend that, hey, this is just this really banal reason, but I really have to go. But deep down I'm just freaking out. So that would have been my two options in the past, but there's actually a third option that is the only option that really has gotten me any kind of improvements in my levels of anxiety, and that's just it's the surrender option, or just the fear option, just the let it all come through option. It's however you want to call it. It's just that it's that experience of just as similar as what I was doing in the beginning of this video, or what I do before this video, but what I showed you is that just you sit with discomfort, whatever it is. At that point it was anxiety, and it was like panic level anxiety, but now it's just insecurity, and it's discomfort that comes with the insecurity. And you just, I don't fight it, I don't want to push it down, I don't want to pretend it's, I don't want to pretend it's not there. And I don't flee from it. I mean, I'm not gonna say, well, this is really scary. This is really something I should not do. I'm really gonna get killed. People are really gonna think what a. I mean, people are gonna think how ridiculous it is, and and that would be a really bad thing. That those are the things I used to believe, but it's the fleeing in this situation would mean that I would really get off of my chair and not do it. I would just go. I would not face it. So it's those were the two options, but the third option is really just feeling it and going through it. And so this is exactly what I'm doing, and it's the thing that it just works so much better. And yeah, that's something I want to completely separate video, but it's really really a mechanism in which it can totally transform your life, because basically what you do is that by feeling it, by going through it, by observing whatever is happening in that moment, you broaden that gap between trigger and response. Trigger being, I get all these insecurity and the sensations that come with insecurity bubbling up, and then my response, I believe it. Believing those insecurities is a response, and then a response to that would be, I I fight or flight it. I don't do it. I believe this is really scary, so I have to either fight it, I have to push it away, or I have to run from it. And so those are not really actual decisions. Those are just like the defaults. It's like our reptilian brain just taking over and just running our lives. Because, as I've noticed, it's just those default decisions tend to happen in a lot of situations. And so my point being is that now I actually have a decision. I actually get to decide that, hey, this feels really uncomfortable, but because I get to sit with it and I don't immediately have this knee-jerk reaction to it, I actually have a decision that, okay, how do I really want to respond to this? And then I look at the insecurities and I'm like, well, hey, whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna make a fool of myself, maybe, or maybe not. I can't even know for sure. And yeah, there's blind spots. Yeah, there's things I don't know about. Yeah, there's things that you're gonna learn that you don't know of yet. And there's things I don't know about myself yet. And how can I expect myself? Can I expect myself to know all these things instantly right now and then have this perfect story for you and tell you everything you have to do with your life and all the answers? Of course not. Like this, it's just insane. So yeah, my point being that there's just no really sustenance to any of these insecurities. And yes, they're there. You don't have to deny they're there. But there's just a way better response than fighting or fleeing from them. And that's really the surrender. But it's not like giving up. It's not that kind of surrender. It's just you let it in, you feel it, you go through it. That's the kind of surrender that I'm talking about. And then you just come out on the other side. And then that's that basically sums up how I would yeah, that's how I basically would summarize how you can expand the opportunities that you give to yourself, the tools that you give to yourself in your life. Because talking to the camera wasn't even an option for me only a couple months ago, and now I'm sitting here and I'm actually I'm actually getting to the point where I'm thinking about, how can I make this better, how can I make this more interesting, how can I be more of myself on camera. And those are just options that only come from actually going through the discomfort, the initial discomfort, because the gap between the trigger and response is just broadening and broadening and broadening and broadening. And now I get to pick options that I just didn't have before. So um, to bring this around, to wrap this up, and in conclusion, it's not right to say it. Um, I would say that the reason I'm still uncomfortable doing this is just because it's exposing a lot of insecurities that they get to hide if you don't do these kinds of things. But the transformation comes from looking at them, just looking them straight in the eyes and saying, "It's fine. You can be here." It's like, be with me for however long you want, and then at some point they just dissolve. It's not like they leave. And like a more interesting way to look at it is just that you come to realize that they weren't real in the first place. They were only there because I really really put in the effort, not consciously but subconsciously put in the effort to keep them there, to keep the insecurities alive, keep them alive, keep them alive, keep them alive, because I'd rather stay in what I live with the known secure insecurities than actually living with all the unknown things that can happen from exposing the insecurities. And it just opens up a whole new world of things that can happen to me. And that's actually what I believe to be behind all of this. It's just really really deep down the um the fear of the unknown that really is trying to prevent me from doing any of this. And so um yeah, those things run deep, but that's also why I'm really intrigued and really want to do these kinds of things. And so Yeah, I totally believe in the only way is through. And so that's why I also started doing more Instagram stories this week. Just want to practice more, because it's something that I want. On the one hand, I really want to do, but I'm still really uncomfortable, and that's where to me the magic happens. So, yeah, I would say that's why I think going on camera is still so scary, but also that's also why I think it's only gonna get better from here. So I would really want to hear about those your answers to those first two questions. And I'm gonna continue to do these. Yeah, follow me on Instagram if you want to see what I'm doing there. And yeah, otherwise, talk to you next week.